Hello, hello.
Good morning. We are about to go live with our buddy Clairvoyant Chris. We're just waiting for him to pop on and pop us in. So, guys, stay tuned if you want to check that out because it's going to be really fun.
Yes.
Hey, Erin. Hi, milady. We're about to go live with Chris. You guys know Erin is still friends with Chris and Frankie. So we are going to go live with them today. So definitely stay on. We're going to go live together. Let's see. We're just, this is technologically, we're just trying to make sure this works. Accept.
What's going on? So I was just telling everybody shit about y'all, right? Hey, so we've been friends for years.
Yeah.
Okay. So they blew up a TikTok. They blew up the Instagram scene. Now they're jumping into the podcast because I told them, man, they have too much knowledge to just have by themselves. So hey, tell them about y'all, and then we could just go from there.
All right.
Well, I'm Andrea.
I'm Lindsay.
And we are Lindrea Co. I am a spirit council medium, so I'm able to connect with all types of, from God source, higher self, souls, ETs, archangels, ascended master, the whole nine. Whoever you're working with is who I connect with to bring forth guidance, healing, further growth. We also do our spiritual life.
We both do spiritual life coaching together. We help walk people through like the shadow side, like pulling out trauma so that you can align fully with your true soul self. I'm a multidimensional healer. I work in the energy realm. I'm also obsessed with bridging connections between the energy body and the physical body and helping people heal their trauma and therefore their physical body and energy body as well. And I'm also what we like to call a psychic surgeon.
Yeah.
Cut that shit right out.
Yes, she does.
So I tell my dreamers all the time, you need to isolate and like get the shadow work out, right? And
Yes.
I do not like dealing with the emotions. They do. They do. Like that is their specialty, right?
Yeah.
As soon as you finish with them, come to Chris and then we can move on. But that shadow work, I tell y'all all the time, it has to be done. So I get a lot of clients that have went years and they say, I've been like spiritually woke for like 20 years. Okay, but you don't meditate and you still have trauma that you don't deal with. We don't fully get over it all the time. We just know how to handle it in like physical form, in like life situations, right?
Right. Yeah.
You have to deal with it. You can't run from it. So I tell my dreamers all the time, don't bring fear into anything because you will project a lot of things, especially
especially because so many people are master manifestors and they're here to help build the collective. Just because you may not be aware of your gifts and abilities or who you are on a soul level doesn't mean that you're still not operating from those God-given gifts that you have and who you are as your essence. So that's where it can kind of be like a curse because you just I say it's like a rogue lawnmower. You just letting that puppy run and it's just going crazy. And it's like, who's behind that, right?
Yeah, you don't know what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
You don't know what you're bringing in, what you're creating.
Yeah.
Right.
So I tell them all the time, how it looks like for me. So I don't know about Andrea. I used to have a beautiful picture, but there would be shadows, right? So I used to be like, Mama, like, what are these shadows? She's like, that is trauma that you need to deal with. So I said, so if I deal with this trauma, like, will like my picture like clear up? And she was like, yes, but it's things that I didn't want to go back and deal with. So when I finally dealt with that, because I had a huge heart chakra block, like I was a skeptic, didn't believe in anything. I thought this whole thing was a con, but I had been doing it since I was a kid, but I kind of normalized it, but then they suppressed it, right? So then when I carried it into adulthood and you go through your spiritual awakening in your freaking 30s, you look like a bald-headed bird. So I tell them, do your shadow work by yourself so you don't be with other people, because other people like to judge, right?
Right.
But y'all have this this safe platform just like this one with my dreamers, to where they have a private Discord too, because privacy is a big thing. Okay.
Yeah.
We want y'all to be comfortable enough to let your walls down, to let the work actually happen, right?
Mhm.
But I tell y'all a lot of time that it always comes from belief system first.
Yep.
First, if you don't believe this shit's gonna work, it's not gonna freaking work. So I
Yeah.
tell guys that all the time. So what do you have for that, Andrew?
Well,
Lindsay?
what Lindsay and I always say is, we compare it to, look at how much like you believe that the, bad things are going to happen. You believe, you're like, oh, I knew that was going to happen. I knew this person was going to do that. I knew this relationship was going to go that way. It's because those are belief systems. So
And they're
you already have these belief systems that you have programmed into your subconscious mind, which comes from the time that you're born. Think about another one we use is say lion cubs. All right. They come out, they're hanging with the mom, they're hanging with the dad. What are they doing? They're watching every move they make. Number one, they're responsible for their safety and to keep them alive. But they're also like, this is how mom gets food. This is what mom does when she's pissed off. This is what, dad does when people are like lurking. You did the exact same thing while you were keeping yourself alive. And you created all these programs. Except for us, it's more intricate and really kind of confusing. But it's like, okay, when I act like myself, this isn't okay. This isn't safe. So I need to shut this down. When I'm crying and I need to be held, I'm trying to express my emotions, that shit got shut down. I got beat. I got, shut out. So on and so forth. So you shut that stuff down and you're like, this isn't safe. The problem is that you carry this into your adult life because this is now your programming.
And you have no idea you're running off of it. It's exactly like a programming a computer.
Right.
The subconscious runs on autopilot.
Mm-hmm.
So half the time you're like, why do I keep creating? You create from the subconscious.
Yep.
What you are creates your reality.
Mm-hmm. And then it gets even trickier because then it seeps into everywhere in your life, like just veins all throughout your life. So you have to clean up. And the best way to do that is to get to the source. And that's what you got to be able to identify and find.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like I tell them, we had a long talk about this, right? So I tell them, abandoned people are the best people to be around because you at least know that they will never abandon you, right?
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we also love truly hard. We also, that could be for a spouse, that could be for a friend, shit associate, whatever. So you should never screw these people over, right? But a lot of us healers attract these type of people, right? So I tell them, even if you heal them and you heal them for somebody else, yeah, that shit sucks. It sucks, but this is what you've been doing for centuries, so you're comfortable with it. So I tell them, if you don't ignore your intuition, then you don't have to do surgery if you don't want to.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, you're a healer, right? You can literally clean energy and give it back, but you don't have to do surgery on everyone.
Right. Right. And that's if you're in a place where you've done the work, you've done the work. If you haven't fully cleaned house on yourself, you're going to find yourself in these situations over and over and over again, because the number one thing, especially with empaths and highly sensitive people, light workers, starseeds, if we haven't healed all of our baggage or the things that we came in to perfect, you find yourself, like how Chris was saying, super, super loyal, super loving, gonna be there for you no matter what. But you're also the quickest one to ruin relationships because you will always think that what was done to you is gonna happen over and over and over again, even if that person isn't trying to do that.
Right.
So
you'll still see it.
and you'll still
filter.
attract. So it becomes a vicious cycle until you clear that stuff out. And what you need to remember too is that if you are on that spiritual path, if you are that light worker, that starseed, that soul dreamer, right? What we call our ground crew, you went through all of these things in your life for a reason. Okay. This is your tool bag. this is your, these are the things that you went through to refresh, to remember, so that once you heal and come up top, we always say, healer, heal thyself, so that healer can heal. You have to go through your shadow bag. You have to remove all of that and obtain the knowledge from the experience so that you can turn around and then do this for others.
Yeah, that shit is ugly, but it's supposed to be, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to literally tear you the hell down, and you build that shit back up. But when you build it back up, you only put parts that you need for this new character that you have built.
Yeah,
because
that you want.
yeah, these two right here told me 2 years ago, right? Put all your eggs in one basket and finally go for it without fear. Well, when I was in a dark spot, shit, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, cool. Right? Like, I didn't want to hear that shit, right?
Yeah.
But it took so long for this to manifest. This right here, right? Freaking Andrea called this shit out 2 years ago, but I was scared of shit. Okay,
Yeah.
didn't want a lot of y'all, didn't have the full package. So I had to literally go through things myself so I could get up here to tell y'all, right?
Yeah.
But that fear bred self-sabotage. And I broke myself down. And so I tell y'all, self-sabotage, that's just the old you fighting with the new you, because they want to come along. They won't mesh with you. That's why you trim the fat.
Yeah.
Anyone who does not serve you, let them go. And it's okay. And don't feel bad for it, because you are on a healing journey, right? Because we get so aggravated with this conversation around us because it's very 3D. It's very judgmental. It's very, what is Lindrea doing now? Everybody thinks that they know y'all and thinks that they know me, but you're judging off of what you see. Like, get to know these people or get to know the messenger.
Yeah.
Like I tell y'all all the time, you only take what resonates with whoever is delivering the message, but you got to hear it first.
Right.
That's a part of healing. Like, you have to hear it first. We learn every day. So
it's just like, how many times have you watched a movie, and every time you rewatch that movie, you're gaining something you didn't see before?
Right.
It's if you're ready for it. It comes down to that
message. Yeah, it has to resonate. And it's the same as you can, once you kind of get into that space, you can go into many different situations and receive guidance from spirit through these little signs and symbols that pop out at you. I could go into a church now. I used to be anti-religion. I can go to a church and I can pick out the parts that resonate and leave all the rest. And that's what you want to be able to do. And with all of life, because there are messages and symbols everywhere, and spirit's constantly connecting with you. Even if you're not getting information clairvoyantly, spirit's always connecting with you and trying to communicate. It's if you're shutting all that out and putting yourself in a box, then you're not able to receive those messages.
Right.
Like I was telling them, when I first got into the game, these people made this smoke and mirrors. So I doubted myself because I thought that we see this all day. Okay, this is only this is only in a state. So I tell them. So Andrew's here. So Lindsay's here. Seeing shit like this, it takes a lot of energy. Okay, we are energy. This takes a lot. This damn meat suit can't handle all this shit, right?
Yeah.
So I downplayed myself, but then I found out that I only grew when I had to tear myself down, but I kept my ego, a piece of it, because we've all been in fight or flight mode for years. We know how to survive, right?
Yes.
Now it's time to live.
Yeah.
We need that survival, though. We can't just throw it away. So you can't fully destroy your ego. Keep some of it because you need it in high pressure situations.
Yeah, you got to heal your whole self, and that's part of who you are. It doesn't go away. But I learned that too early on in my journey when I was going through my awakening. I saw the same thing. Everyone's like, kill the ego, get rid of your ego, and I'm like, I got to get rid of my ego. You ain't getting rid of that shit.
The more you try, the more fear you create of it's not working, and then it's more anxiety.
Yes. But instead, what you have to do is you have to love that part of yourself, because that part of you kept you alive your whole life. it just, you don't need it in the same way now. And look, it was never intended to be running the show. It doesn't want to run the show. It's looking at you like, well, you ain't keeping us alive, so I'm gonna keep us alive.
We always say, you got to take him out of the driver's seat.
Right.
So he stays in the as like a passenger in the back.
Right.
But he's not supposed to drive the car.
You pull him when you need him.
The soul needs to be in the driver's seat.
I like
and
that.
that's the difference.
I like that. Yeah,
And a lot of times too, what I had to learn was, becoming seated in my body and like staying in my body, because I did want to stay in that space where, like that picture behind you, Chris, where it was like I was astral traveling. I was like leaving my body. I was like staying in meditation for hours, just playing in the realms. And I've done this my whole life. But and especially too, if you come from trauma, I have significant trauma. I didn't want to stay in my body. It wasn't safe. And I just wanted to be in the other realms and be with spirit, because that's where I felt safe. That's where I was comfortable. That's my family. But
turns out that doesn't work when you contracted to like do work here.
Right. And when you come in to this life, one thing you learn along the journey, the spiritual journey, is there is such a magnificent aspect, like reality, truth, opportunity to live in this reality, to live in your body, to manifest spirit, to manifest heaven into the physical. Okay? It takes masters to do that. So just know that if you are alive, you're here right now, you got your own little meat suit, you're conscious, you are a master. You're a master manifester. Only master manifestors can come into the earth school, okay? Because it takes a lot to do what you're doing here. And that's why we can't go that high. If we do, once again, it's not balanced. If you're just staying in your body and ignoring your spiritual self, that ain't balanced. So that's the key, is like learning how to balance both of those, being your spiritual being in self, having the human experience, bringing that spirituality, bringing heaven all into the physical realm.
Right. Like I say, bringing home, but so I got in trouble for telling my mom that I didn't want to come back home because I've never felt the overwhelming amount of love, right? When I finally let her go and she finally transitioned, right? So I didn't get that whole part, and then I got in trouble. She was like, no, you are there for a reason. Y'all are all there for a reason. I need you to plant seeds. And I never knew what that meant until like recently. Okay. So, but I was taking the power out of myself, and like thinking that, y'all tap screen, share the live, y'all. Sorry about that. And then you, take the power out of yourself, but you also think that this is normal, what you're doing, and people think that they push people away. No, there are timelines. Okay, so every decision that you make is on a timeline, right? So just because you feel like, did I mess up again? Bob? You're still on the same timeline. You're still going to get there. You didn't do anything drastic to mess that up. But when you put it out there, when you talk to God and you actually put it out there, you need to believe and go manic, like I tell y'all, be delusional and just know that it's going to work. Okay. Right. And if you need pressure, start telling everybody about your new business. Start telling everybody about the people, that you're going to hire, the lives that you're going to change. You see what I'm saying? Because you have to have a purpose, but you have to be happy in doing what you are doing, because if you don't, a lot of people think abundance is like monetized. It's not money. It's not always money. Don't feel like abundance is money. So I tell my students, love first. Find the love first, then get the money. Because if you get the money first, you have no idea, because you ignore your intuition, because we are overthinkers. Why? Because we all have childhood trauma and it sneaks back, right? That's a comfortable blanket that we always feel warm under.
Right.
Get uncomfortable. And that's how you grow. But believe that shit when you put it out. That's the main thing. And then you're only halfway done. Step into that role and start acting like that's who you are, because you only attract what you own. You cannot have anything or have a fantasy about anything that you've never owned or touched or seen or smelled. You've seen that in a vision because everything coexists at the same exact time. So when you bump into that future timeline, God purposely does that to you so you can feel that and hold on to the feeling. And a lot of y'all hold on to it until y'all can't feel it no more. So guess what happens to your manifestation? There's no longevity.
Mm-hmm.
So you manifested just to get success, but what do you do after that?
Right. You
Right?
gotta have a vision for yourself, and that's where a lot of people mess up when they're trying to manifest. Is you don't have a vision. What's your mark? What's your mark? Like, what are you going for?
Aiming for?
Yeah, and if you can't see yourself, like I can't see myself. I struggled with that, a lot in the beginning. Was like I can't see myself in the future. I don't really know what I want because my whole life I've lived survival. So I don't know what thriving looks like, so that's where it was difficult for me. But I'm like, but I know what I want, where I want to be because of how it makes me feel.
Oh, thank you. Hold on to the feeling.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So if you can't envision it, then look at how it feels. What does it feel like? Imagine the highest version of yourself. What is she doing when she wakes up? What does she look like? What is she wearing? Who's she calling? Who's she talking to? What is she eating? Okay? Or he. Like, picture her, right? Or him. And that you're like, okay, well, this is what her life looks like. Okay, now you have a vision. What are you doing for a job, for a living? For us, we're stepping into a place where, before we go, we're going live weekly. It's like we come home and, we're going to get ready or we have our time to sit, like to lay down and meditate. But your brain might be like, well, we're so used to like, well, you're not doing a 9 to 5. Fuck that. Like, that's not my vision. That's not what I'm creating. That's not what we are master creators, right? So you get to create whatever it is that you want. If you have a hard time seeing it, feel it. If you have a hard time feeling it, write that shit down. You need help, look through magazines. Just figure out what feels good to you and let yourself go from there.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be huge either. You can do
Right, there you
little bits at a time where it's like, that was one of the things for me when I started to heal my issues with like money, abundance, like learning abundance over looking for financial success.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like starting to see, I'll never forget there was one day I was in the backyard of my house. I lived in the middle of a town and all I wanted was to be in nature. And I had moved in with my husband at the time and we stayed in that house and he was like really dead set on being there. And I was like, I want nature. And so one day my kids and I sat outside and we turned on the hose and we ran the hose down the concrete patio and we made a creek. And then we built a fort out of like, sticks and stuff. Like we had one tree in the yard. And I started to look at my yard and I was like, I get to create this. It doesn't have to be concrete and bricks and mulch. If I don't want it to be, I can see it in a whole different light. And it just opened up my world to the fact that like, it doesn't matter where you are. This can't be, the mind and the soul can't be put in a box.
Mm-hmm.
So you can create what you want. And it's number one, it's perspective. But number two, that perspective, changing your perspective allows you to see where you already have those things you desire. And then you can amplify them.
Right.
Build
Yeah,
up.
it's like that saying, aim small, miss small, right? So start finding things in your life that you see as abundance. I know for me, like when I pull in to go to the grocery store and I'm like, I get that parking spot in the front of the store. If I don't feel like walking, that's abundance to me.
Right
When I'm
on.
walking up, right, my hands are full and my neighbors are like, oh, let me help you out. Or the kids come outside. That's abundance to me.
How about our Aldi quarter yesterday? I don't know if you guys have an Aldi, but they had the quarter
Yeah,
in the... Yeah, and we went shopping yesterday and the quarter was already in there. And she was like, thank you, God.
I was like, thank you, universe.
Because see, a lot of us don't accept the small victories because
Right.
we always want everything big. But one thing that I know that I got, reprimanded about was I went into a vision and I was in a home. I felt like it was mine. It had everything that I wanted, but I told my spirit team, I said, I can't afford this.
Oh, yeah, right.
And I got in trouble for
And you
that.
blocked yourself. Yeah.
They were like, okay, so then like basically like, so this is me talking, so I'm talking for them. So I'm showing you this shit and you don't believe it, but you're this master manifester. You created all this shit and you think that you can't have it. Well, that's low self-worth because I've self-sabotaged for years. right? So I tell them, even the most confident people can be self-sabotaged, right? And a lot of times the people that tell you or used to tell you that they love you have the keys to your triggers. Okay, so they can amplify any feeling in you at any time. And see, this is people's new shit. Oh, you're a spiritualist, so they try to piss you off, right? And then they go, oh shit, there he goes. I told y'all. Look, I told y'all he wasn't a spiritualist. We're not religious.
Yeah.
We are us.
Well, let me.
That's the best part. We get to be us. We don't give a damn what y'all think.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like that. So that right there clashes with ego and clashes with self-sabotage and things like that. Because yes, so I tell y'all, create your own reality, but you have to be aware first. Where you at first? You see what I'm saying? Then you create your reality.
Yes.
Yeah. Welcome in, new people. Welcome in. Yeah.
Hello.
So like a lot of people don't see that when you pray, like you're manifesting, right? So spiritualists call it a manifesting. Christians call it prayer, but it's the same thing, right? But see,
it's willing forward and intention.
Right.
With love and with faith that it's going to be answered.
Yeah. So then I always used to pray for patience and strength, but used to get pissed off when it took so long. That's what the hell I'm praying for, right? So but I didn't understand that in a dark place until I built this new character, connected with my higher self. Then he's like, hey, bro, we don't freak out like that.
Yeah.
Just chill. You know what I'm saying? Because your higher self knows everything and never forgets. Right? Never forgets. But if you have a crown chakra block, guess what? You can't filter that. You can't filter it down. But a lot of y'all have headaches and all this stuff because you entertain energy all day, because that's what you do, right? This meat suit is malfunctioning, like I tell you all the time. Malfunction meat suit, right? So it's when you write your intentions, your body's reading that. Right? So y'all are on the exact same page, right?
Exactly, because that's your body's not malfunctioning or failing you; it's following directions. Yeah. Right?
Whether that be on the subconscious or the conscious level.
And you know what? Honestly, the body kind of does the same thing that the ego does. It's like, all right, look, this is what you're manifesting into our body, into this vessel. So I'm constantly trying to autocorrect. And then when you find yourself getting injured, or, I mean, this is more so Lindsay's realm because she's, also a medical medium. So she does a lot of like communicating with the body. So you shut me up anytime you want, but I'm like, when you find yourself getting sick or injured, or you get into a car accident, like you're like cut out, right? That's your body saying, sit the fuck down, sit down. You better chill out, because now I really got to repair myself to get us back on even keel. So I'm going to take you out for a little bit while I go ahead and heal. Your soul is like co-regulating that as well, because it's like, all right, yeah, go ahead and take us out. Go ahead and take her out right now, and then we'll sit her down. She's gonna be sick for about a week. We can do our upgrades. You can heal yourself. Yada yada.
But it's crazy. Ugly sick. It is a bitchy sick. Like I feel like I'm dying because I get sick once every 5 years. So when I do, I feel like I'm dead. So I get to enjoy that. But see, the whole thing with that is you make yourself sick.
Yes. Yeah.
So I had a client, right? We talked about this multiple times. She has a strong mind, and I tell her that you need to use that and to manifest instead of worrying about things that you cannot control. And 8 months ago, she gave herself a stroke. And I said, I told you this a while back, that you can give yourself cancer. You can also cure yourself of cancer. Hell, one of my followers in here, Hugh, he had lupus. He cured himself. You know why? Because he believed it first.
Yes.
It's in our DNA. We can do this, right? But
we're put here with everything we need
first. That's why should I brag on Queen Bee all the time, because she taught me that a real healer needs to explain to you that they will help you heal because you heal yourself, right? they're going to they're going to give you keys to heal yourself, right? But they're going to show you and practice with you.
Yeah.
So y'all have magic hands. It's not you go to one person and they can do this. No. You can do this yourself. So as soon as you put the power into yourself, they can help you, but they explain to you. Because if they don't explain to you, then it's a con, right?
Well, it's essentially the same thing as saying, the only thing that will heal you is this pill.
Thank you. Yep. So a lot of people want to get off the pharmaceutical. So Queen Bee has clients like that, right? So it's just think about this. Every pharmaceutical pill had to mock something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So with her going the holistic route, okay, they have things that mimic like Xanax, drugs and all this. People don't know that because big pharma. Okay. Mm-hmm. But if you don't educate yourself and look within, you would never know. Like I hated mushrooms, but I found out about turkey tail, lion's mane, things like that. They help you focus. That's what they use to replace Adderall.
Mm-hmm.
So I had no idea. So it's like you really have to look like within, because you're never gonna just find that.
Yeah. Right. And it's, what's kind of sad too is like a lot of people, myself included, because, I can be like an intense type person. So I would draw those things into my life. And I've learned through my, journey that so many people base what they experience off in society as like absolute truth. And that is no different than like when it comes to like healing your body or healing your emotional body or whatever it may be, that number one, there should be instant gratification. And number two, it should be like completely evident in your face that this is working for you. Meaning that it's like, boom, it's like one and done. Boom, it's being taken care of for you. Instead of letting it be a process or letting it be a more mild, gentler approach. So obviously, some things like that we have in nature is not going to feel the same or have the same effects as like something that the pharmaceutical would have. Like think about like Percocet, right? Like you take Percocet, people are getting hooked and high on this stuff, and because they want to feel happy, they want to feel at peace, they want their body to be eased of pain. You might not get that same mental euphoria off of some of the things in that, that you would use simultaneously from nature with that. But nothing in life, if you look at how things are built, how the universe is created, everything is still and calm and grounded, and everything has a season. Process. So it's the same thing in life. You have to have downtime as well as you have your uptime, and you have to be able to like keep yourself balanced and be in the flow of life. You never want to be going back to like wanting to be high up in the astral realms again. That's not balanced. That's not the truth of what, life experience really is. You just going with the flow. You got to have your ups and downs. So it goes hand in hand with that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to have that because there's duality, right? So what I'm trying to get them to understand is everyone is gifted. Okay. Mm-hmm. You can pick a side. Serial killers have gifts. They have psychic abilities too, just like us, but they don't want to work for the light. Mm-hmm. Right. So there is duality. So you have to understand that. Can we control that? No. So you don't pile it on top of your plate of things that you already have in your healing process. Oh, I'm so worried about the world. No, that is a 3D motion. Okay. The world is going off of your perception. Okay. So I teach y'all all the time. You can have heaven on earth and you can have hell on earth at the same time. Okay. Because everyone is mad at your frequency. Why are you so happy? Why are you laughing all the time? Because my perception is different from yours, right? You're still in this 3D. You're worried about things, shit like that. God got me. So I'm not worried about that. But I understand and I won't judge you because in the 3D, they have to physically see something concrete to believe that. Mm-hmm. We don't. You know what I'm saying? But that's a hard step. So when you're in the 4D, you finally, okay, well, I can do this, and this, and this, but you travel back to the 3D when you get comfortable with the
You get
judgment,
scared. Yeah, you run right back. Yeah.
scared, you come right back. You see what I'm saying? So it's
Mhm.
like, if you're going to ascend, you got to reprogram this first.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because why would you put old tools in a brand new car?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So but you got to go through the shadow work that they help you with in their school and on their podcast before you get to the love and light. Because everything's not love and light. Because I thought that coming in and I seen a bunch of ugly shit. Okay, so everything's not love and light. But you want this so bad, but can you handle this? Spirituality is not for the weaks, and I tell y'all that all the time. It is not for the weak-minded person. If y'all could take my eyes, their eyes, Queen Bee, it would scare the shit out of a lot of y'all. But if you reprogram that mind, because shit, it scared me too. You know what I'm saying? That, like, not even totally transparent with y'all, right? So it scared the shit out of me to the point where I needed help, right? So I got that help, but I had to look within first to find out who I was and could I handle that. And then my spirit team laughed at me. So tap screen, share live, y'all. Let's get on the FYP.
Yeah. I mean, we always say too, like, you think you want these things, but when you actually get them, can you handle them? And spirit, your counsel, the universe, is when you're like, why am I not getting what I want? Why isn't this coming into my life? Stop for a second and look at yourself and say, yeah, this is what I want, but can you handle that? Can you actually handle that? Because they're always going to give you the most of what you can handle, because their number one priority is your success. So if you don't have it yet, there's some aspect of you that isn't ready, right?
But it's okay to take it in steps, and that's how we do things. Is like, okay, what's the next step to healing my issues with relationships, or my issues with abundance, or my issues with whatever, my trauma from my childhood? What's the first step? Let it unlock, and then you move up the ladder, and then you ask for the next one, the next step, and you move up and up and up.
Yeah.
One of our biggest mistakes, we always say, be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. Because there have been times where we're fed up and we're like, I'm done living like this. Help me heal this. And I'm not taking no for an answer. And boy, do they come in and they're like, okay, here you go. And it's not them. It's not them that's making it scary, difficult. It's that you have a lot of shit accumulated. And if you have to face that all at once, that's a lot.
Right. So you find yourself, if you catch yourself saying that, all right, just I'm ready to heal everything, just lay it all out. You better write that on a Post-it note with the date and when you said that, and put it somewhere where you're gonna see it.
And you'll be like, what is happening
and when
to
you're
my life?
dying 2 weeks later, because this is how I'm famous for this. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, this is so bad. I was like, it's so hard. And Lindsay or someone would be like,
what did you ask for?
well, you did last week. You were like, fuck this, I'm done.
Yeah, because I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. As far as when you start healing, there's no blueprint on spirituality. Okay, there was, but we all know what happened to that. But I'm saying, a lot of people think that they're just going batshit crazy. Why do I hear my sister talking, while she sleep, blah, blah? Well, consciousness is always on, right? So I have a client that can't control it. And she would see herself as a light being in the mirror, right? And I'm like, well, damn. Do you ever get in a state where and she's like, no, but you have to be in control of your own body. Okay. So should I tell y'all, they judge schizophrenia all the time. I don't, because they're one of the most highly spiritual people, right along with autism. Okay. So some of them can't talk because you can't handle what they're going to say. Okay. So it's a good thing that they can't talk. But if you know people like that, use telepathy and you'll find out a lot of shit, right? But then you go into their brain and their brain runs 200 miles an hour. 200 miles an hour. You see what I'm saying? And they're always, since consciousness is always on and you can't turn it off, and we leave the body when we go to sleep and then we come back, And if you don't make it in time, that's sleep paralysis, which I found that out. And that used to
Yeah.
bug the shit out of me. It used to scare the shit out of me. You see what I'm saying? Because I didn't know that we weren't humans. We were having the human experience. That's what you have to grasp. Okay, that's what you have to grasp. If you get in a major accident, 9 times out of 10, you ain't gonna feel it. God's gonna pull you out of the body, or you will extract yourself out of your body in high pressure situations.
Yeah, most traumas, like you do hop out of the body, and it is a little bit comforting when you hear those things, especially when there's like you hear things like with kids and stuff, like people hurting other people. It is like you pop out, and that's why you black out a lot of times. People are like, I don't have memory of this. Is that bad? And because we've done, like we've said, we've done a lot of like helping other people dig out their stuff.
Even like
how do I heal it? Yeah,
and stuff
they're
like
like,
that.
how do I heal it if I don't remember it? And they're so afraid of what happens if I do remember it. But 9 times out of 10, if once they do, it's not as hard as the fear of revisiting it because they didn't fully experience it. They hopped out or numbed it to a certain level. The body is extremely intelligent. It's not going to let you, it's the same as like a rodent that gets picked up by like a predator, it goes limp in its mouth and it goes into like a catatonic state, and it's meant to protect you and keep the body from feeling that pain. So you're really most of the pain comes from your memory, your perception, and your beliefs around the situation.
Right. So I'm gonna tell y'all, a lot of my SA victim, DV victims, y'all know what that is. Y'all have core memories, okay? You don't want to deal with that shit in front of people. Don't ever watch who you're vulnerable around, okay? That's why I say isolate to do your shadow work. That comes up in y'all's readings. So when I tell y'all get emotional, y'all cry about it, which is understandable, right? So we talk through that. But at the same time, though, that is a part of your shadow work. You literally have to go through that again and relive that shit. It sucks. It freaking sucks. But I tell y'all all the time, I finally saw my inner child fishing. Instead of in his room with the lights off, he felt abandoned. He felt alone, even in a group of people. He's finally living now. I finally found out who he was, but I had to promise him that he wouldn't feel that anymore like I did, because I took the bullet for us. You see what I'm saying? And he's still living simultaneously now. This future Chris is still living. You're not the only version of yourself at all. But you only have one blueprint, but you have multiple that are living. This is why you feel this. This is why you get memories of the past. Deal with that shit. So a lot of my clients, they're like, Chris, where do I start? Do your trauma. Deal with your trauma, because if not, it will filter through your kids or it will store in your body.
The thing is too, so many people are like, they're like, I can't go there. And it's normal. That's normal to feel that way because the ego wants to keep you protected. It doesn't know the difference between reliving something emotionally or physically. And so it does a beautiful job of saying, this is danger. Why would we ever revisit this? Right. So you have to kind of like coax yourself, talk yourself through it and say, I don't have to physically relive this, but I do need to emotionally recognize it, because every single day of my life, this is showing up in all my different relationships and all my different things I'm doing. It's popping up because it's saying, hey, I'm still here. I'm still here. If you don't, it's like a little kid tugging at your shirt. If you don't turn around and say, hey, what do you want? They're going to keep tugging. And so every single day you're living in trauma. If you kind of like weigh it out, it's like, would you rather take a lifetime of this nagging pull stopping you from being who you are, or revisit it, take a weekend and go dive into it and say like, wow, that wasn't okay. Wow. Like release the emotions and get out the emotions that version of you couldn't express in the moment. Maybe like affirming, it's not okay to treat me like this, rewriting the story, whatever works. It's easier to just dive in and go through it in that weekend or week period than to live with it for the rest of your life.
Or having all of your life experiences in the path that you're on being dictated by the rules of your trauma. Because
Yeah, exactly.
Trauma response. You know, I just learned that, Andrew. Trauma response. That's crazy.
that's what we teach. You know, it's like being able to identify your trauma responses. Like we tell people all the time, and they're like going through that, and we're like, do you know that that's a trauma response? Well, I don't have trauma. Everybody has trauma. Everybody has trauma. It's just for the individual, what does that look like? You know, we've had a client that, you know, he had what you would consider an all-American life, had a great relationship with his parents, like, you know, only child, all those things. But he suffered from major abandonment. And so you know, I took him back into like, basically like a regression when I was doing my session with him, and saw him in the grocery store at 3 years old, and he was throwing a tantrum because he wanted something on the shelf, and his mom was like, we're leaving now. And she turned around and she walked out, and he threw a fit and stayed right there. She went around the corner. She was still able to see him like peeking around, but to him, she like his everything, right? His leader, his everything, literally left him in the middle of that aisle. Like, so now where he was the center of attention all this time, she left me here in the wild, right? Like I'm in the wild, I'm exposed, I'm vulnerable. And that is literally where the source of his abandonment came from.
Yeah, because a lot of people, and see, I tell y'all all the time, y'all think because y'all had y'all's parents there that you weren't abandoned. If abandonment pops up in your reading, that is what you deal with. Because I had a client argue me down until the end of her session, and she's like, you know what, Chris, that is abandonment. I said, yeah, you don't want people to feel how you were abandoned. So if you don't have abandonment issues, so she was like, you know what, so I apologize. Just because you had two parents, you can still be abandoned.
Guess what? Because mom and dad, or mom and mom, dad and dad, if they have trauma, which they do, and most of the time, if you're sitting here now watching this, your parents' generation, they are injured children raising children. Okay? So you are going to have some level of trauma in your life because their belief systems, what they know, is what they use to raise you. Just like we had another client where, you know, it was like, dad, Ivy League, big deal, wanted his kid to be the same way. He's like, I have a great relationship with my dad, but, you know, like, I always had to, like, try to be what my dad wanted me to be, but he had the best intentions, right? And I'm like, number one, that's a trauma response. Number two, that's called grooming. With love, like the dad, yes. Does the dad see it as I'm loving my kid? Yes. But did your dad let you be you? No.
Yeah.
Because being you, being your authentic self is not going to get you success. You need to do it my way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Because it didn't work for your parents, so they hate on you they're going to gaslight you because they don't want you to go through that trauma, but they're subconsciously holding you back. You are suppressed, right? So if you are a great person who overthinks, CEOs, right? We know how it feels. So I tell y'all, it's okay to overthink as long as you don't move into your head, because once you move into your head, then you have to visually see this shit every fucking day. You see what I'm saying? And it doesn't serve you. So when the negative pops up all the time, because y'all ask me all the time, Chris, man, why is the negative? It's meant to deal with it and let that shit go.
Yeah.
Deal with it. Of course it's going to keep pop up because positivity builds the ego. You don't need that already. You already got the ego already.
Yeah. Especially if you grew up learning that wasn't okay. Like if it's every time that you were like expressing yourself or being happy or something, somebody else was triggered by that. Like you're having fun, being playful, and your parents like, stop. Because that's triggering, because they weren't allowed to do that. They weren't allowed to play and have fun, you know? And it's like, yeah. So then it feels like you need permission. You need to give yourself permission.
How many times have you said to your own kids, I always say this, like, not instead of just thinking about your parents, because I want to show you how this is transferred down. How many times, even if it's just one time, you can raise your finger, have you said to your kid, don't go outside without your coat on, you're going to get sick?
catch a death of cold. Yeah.
Is that true? No, that is not true. But that's what we learned, and we catch ourselves.
Yeah.
So how many other things were ingrained in you that you learned that you're living off of that you are now like teaching to not only yourself but to your kids? It's the same thing. So it's becoming consciously aware, right?
Like I told myself, y'all, like I was abused as a child, yeah, but I got over it, right? But I always said, you know what? My kids can have anything they want. Shit, I don't give a damn if they keep my door open and all this shit. Well,
then you create a whole other monster.
a whole nother monster because you couldn't do that, right? So yes, I was abused to the point where like I had to eat certain food out of the refrigerator, and I said that I would never do my kids like that. Or when you're abused, you hawk your kids, but you create a whole nother monster.
Exactly.
And it's like, yes, but a lot of us forget you're missing the main freaking ingredient. Just love them. Because they remember that, right? They remember that. And like, I remember on one hand how many times like my dad actually hugged me. And on two fingers, how many times he actually meant that shit. You see what I'm saying?
That's like I can count on one hand how many times my dad has told me that he loved me. Most of my life. My mom died when I was 8. So you and I have that same, that same similarity. So I get it.
It's hard, but I tell you, this is why I tell y'all, stop going into relationships telling them what the last person did to you. You're just giving them a playbook on how to treat you. Okay, right? So if you don't know this person and you have a narcissist, right, and you have no idea because a lot of them motherfuckers are good. Okay, but if you're giving him a playbook, so he's gonna start. So you start seeing the same thing, and you think that that's normal. Oh, what the last dude did me like that, and then he's doing me like that too. Why? So it must be me. No, it's not you. Once again, your environment is sick. You don't attract your type. You attract your pattern. Right? If you were fully healed, you would never be in that situation and have those kids. With that person, okay? With that person. The kids are strictly gifts. Those are gifts. You would have had those same beautiful kids with somebody else, but you would have never went through that trauma. But it's a good thing that you did, though. But you didn't waste your time because time is not real. That's an illusion, right? So you just learned in this game of chess, right? So I tell them all the time, my job and y'all's job too with Queen Bee is to read y'all's book and tell you the ending, ruin your whole story for you. But that's what y'all want anyways.
Yeah.
This is what y'all want anyways. But then the question is, well, damn, I got the plug in my hand. Like, how do I plug it in? That's not my job. That's not my job. I give you the plug though. You know what I'm saying? Plug back to put it.
Tell you where to put it.
Yeah. God first. Everybody wants to know the how. The how. So I used to get caught in that. So I took that out of my life because that's backwards manifesting. Right? Because if God told you the road, shit, I'd still be up there. I'd still be up there, man. If I'm not coming down here to this shit to do. No, I'm not doing that. But it created clairvoyant Chris. You know what I'm saying? It created the integrity. It showed me after watching my stepmother get beat up and she would be naked on a school night and I would have to bring a blanket in there, cover her up and help her bandage herself up. I knew I would never do this shit. I would never do this shit because you beat her up and then you're mad because she's pissed off about you kicking her ass. It don't fucking make sense to me. Right? It doesn't make sense to me. So I just broke the whole cycle, started my family over because that is an embarrassment. This woman still thanks me to this day, but I'm 10 years old.
Yeah.
I'm 10 years old. Like, what if I didn't have the heart for that? You see what I'm saying? So everybody gets pissed off about what they go through. I'm glad I went through that shit.
Or what if you chose that was your belief system and this is how things are done?
What if I just believed that shit? Like I told all 3 of my sons, if if you put your hands on a woman, daddy will break you. That's just my number one rule, right? If you're in a situation that you can't control, leave.
Right.
Right. And then the person that you so-called love, you now abused, and now you're mad that she hasn't welcomed you back in, or he hasn't welcomed you back in. But look what you're doing. But you just projected what you saw as a child, and women don't have rights. Shut up and just do your job. Right? So I learned from that. My kids know how to do laundry and all this. You never know when you're going to be single. And I tell my followers all the damn time, yes, my dad was a demon, but you know what? I learned one thing from him. And that was, well, two things: how not to treat people. And I never know when I will be single. So he maliciously made me do everything, but I took that and I added that to my playbook. Now I know how to do laundry. I know how to do dishes. I don't believe that my spouse is supposed to be on the inside and I take care of the outside. That is the stupidest shit that I've ever heard in my life. But a lot of people don't feel like that.
Yeah.
Okay? This is why I built this platform, because we feel like that. You see what I'm saying? And we're not going to sit here. We're not going to sit around and sweep it up on the rug, because Andrea, back in the day when we were abused, it was swept up on the rug, Andrea. Lindsay too. Lindsay knows too. You see what I'm saying? But it's physical, it's mental, it's so it keeps you. So what do a lot of people do if their throat chakra is blocked? They grow up and they say everything that's on the damn mind, right? Because they never
either or, yeah. Either you don't speak up for yourself and you let people walk all over you,
or you could be
or you go the opposite and you have something to say about everybody.
And you also usually have illness in your throat or associated with the throat.
There you go. Matter of fact, dreamers, Andrea, please tell them, bust their brain with this. Tell them about the stems from your dad with the nasal. The nasal congestion. Was that you that taught me that?
Was that Frank? Weren't we talking about that with Frank, with you and Frankie?
I think was that you?
I can't remember now.
One of y'all told me that it was because I had to learn.
Oh, it was for you.
Came from the trauma.
It was
right?
the sinus.
But the sinuses right here, Andrea was saying that was something else. And I forgot, I thought she said it stemmed from your dad or your father's side or something like that.
It depends on, so a lot of times, well, with smell in general, think everything goes back to the primitive things, right? So with smell, when you're sniffing something out, you're trying to figure out, is this good for me or is this bad for me? So when there's somebody in your life that's toxic, that's that you would think of as rancid energy, you can develop sinus problems because the body is saying, I don't want to smell this. I need to get away. Think death and decay, right? It has a smell. So animals know when something's rotting, stay away because there could be illness. So it's synonymous with if there's emotionally something that is just it's off and you can't get rid of it, because if it's your dad and you're a little kid and this is where you're stuck, this is who you're stuck with, and you can develop sinus issues because it's I don't want to be, I'm not supposed to be near that, but I have to anyway. Yeah. Even if the sinuses start to change.
Even if you see that externally, right, and it reminds you of your dad, your body could still, it's whoop, that's the same thing. Stay away from it.
Allergies can be the same way. Yeah.
You know what sucks for us? I know y'all have been there. Y'all have said something to your kids and then be like, damn, that sounds like my dad. Damn, I don't want to use that shit anymore. You know what I'm saying? We shouldn't have triggers like that.
Right.
Right. The SA victims can never be comfortable in a bedroom unless they know they're comfortable with that person. We should never feel like that. Right. It's all a trigger. So if you have the keys to someone's trigger and you don't protect your energy, you will always be triggered by that person or whatever, or even look at that person and instantly be triggered by the energy alone. Because a lot of the victims that have a throat chakra block to this day, have to see their victim or who victimized them. I'm sorry, who victimized them,
Okay.
and they're in their face every damn day, and they can't do nothing. They can't deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be in that situation. That is protecting
Right.
your energy,
Mhm.
you know. But a lot of people, a lot of narcissists and things like that, they like to provoke,
Mm-hmm.
silently provoke. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
I mean, and the body is going to respond in so many different. I mean, this is, you can talk about this, but I've learned so much information from Lindsay when it comes to the body and how the body responds. And this is something that Lindsay teaches, is even down to if you are struggling with like weight gain, okay? That is a body's defense mechanism. It's saying we need to be bigger. Think about how, like, when dogs, is that the one you would use? When dogs, like, they're ready to fight, like, their hair stands up, right?
Oh, yeah.
They make themselves
Or
look
bear,
bigger.
like
Birds,
they-
their
yeah.
feathers flock out and they get real big. It's to show I'm bigger than you. Your body does the same thing with weight. So when you're like, I've tried everything, I've tried so many different diets, I've tried working out, I'm working myself into the ground, I'm doing all these things,
And it's not working. Yeah. There's
Look-
something underneath of it. There's a trauma. There's somewhere where your body's still trying to help you, heal you, keep you safe, and you're missing it.
And if it's not that, if it's not trauma, and you are, you know, using, like, you're part of your mission and your purpose is to use your gifts to help others, right? Clairvoyance, clairsentience, claircognizance. A lot of times it's like if you're a strong empath and you're clairvoyant, you're going to be on the heavier side because you, for work, right? Your job, my job is to be up in the realms, communicating, talking one-on-one with archangels. I'm talking to ETs. I have to be up there to do my job, but I also have a meat suit that I can't let die. So a lot of times you find yourself being heavier because you got to keep yourself weighted down on the ground, or you gonna float up there and be gone.
Not to mention that you have people's energy. Until you learn to differentiate and control that more, you have people's energy coming at you all times. And the same thing, the ego is like that. I'm being bombarded. And so it'll do the same thing. Let me provide you with a cushion to keep that from hitting us so hard.
Right. So I tell them your mind is powerful. So I tell them what I found out was when you think about other people and they're on your mind and you know damn well you would never think about them, they still have your energy. Okay? They are manifesting themselves in your reality. Now, you could either deal with that shit, close that door, cut your accessibility, or you can have it fester in your life and have it come into this beautiful reality that you created, but there's a monster in it now. So that's what I tell y'all, you know, clear yourself.
Yeah.
Use that as a tool. I know I do that because, like, all of a sudden, you know, out of nowhere, I'll start having a lot of, like, thoughts and, you know, about my ex-husband, and I'm like, whoop whoop.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, shit, I left the door open. I got to go clear myself, and then I ground myself because I'm like, I left the freaking door open. So use that to your advantage. When you start, like, getting flooded with, like, overthinking and thoughts and emotions and stuff, your door's open, honey. So you got to go close that, clear yourself, clean up.
Right. Jonathan, you got to cut that cord, man. Use the burn the rope method, like I told y'all. But a lot of times, if that does not work, put it in a hot air balloon and let that shit go. But the key to that is watch it until you can't see it anymore, and that's gonna clear that whole energy. But get your energy back though, too. You know, demand your energy back because that's not. I know how that feels. Okay, so when I first came into this shit. I didn't know.
Ask
I
questions.
didn't know that. I didn't know that we could hear people's thoughts, and it comes through in their voice, so it sounds like they're talking to you. So you turn around and you tell them, you know, why'd you say that? You know, blah blah blah. Well, it's completely negative, so that's an uproar. You can't prove that shit because that's a thought, you know, and you're not supposed to be hearing that anyway, you know, and that's a damn gift. But then you have to come to the realization that don't say every damn thing that's on your mind. A lot of times that is just a message. Then you say, why would God put me in that situation? Well, did you build this new character? Well, okay, well, yeah. Well, this new character can't fall for the same stupid shit that the old character did.
Hmm.
Then it makes a lot of sense. You're like, well, damn, well, yeah, because when I built this car, like, shit, I didn't want cheap seats in it. Shit, it took a year to build. This is a Rolls Royce. You know what I'm saying? But if you want a Hyundai, go get one.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, that's a 2 week process. I want longevity. I was mad that I didn't do the damn PPP loan. I ain't gonna lie. I was mad. Shit, I'm like, these motherfuckers are still out here with this shit. Like, nigga, I was mad as shit. But I know that I would have capitalized off of that, and that's not longevity. You see what I'm saying? Because Ray Ray's fighting a RICO case. So I dodged the bullet. You see what I'm saying? You see how God works? He plays chess.
Hmm.
Trust the process. I was
Yeah.
mad as shit. I was mad as shit because I was like, I got 2 LLCs. Like, why the hell can I get? Man, it's just, man, I'm telling you.
We got a question. Yeah, yes. Illness can be changed with prayer simply for the fact that if you hold enough faith and belief in that prayer changes things, then it can heal you. It will heal you.
Just be open to what comes after the prayer. So Andrea always tells this story about the guy who's like in the flood and he's on the top of the roof of a house and he's like, God, save me. And then a boat goes by and they're like, hey, you want help? He's like, no, God's going to save me. And then another boat goes by. No, I'm good. God's going to save me.
And the flood keeps going. He's up on the top of the house like that. He's about to drown. They bring in a helicopter. Come on, you have to go. No, I'm waiting on God. He dies. He gets to the other side. And he was like, God, why didn't you save me? He said, I sent you 3 damn people to rescue you and you didn't get in.
So all that to say, put your prayers out there. You're setting an intention and you're connecting and you're also saying, I'm on board for healing. So that means you also need to be willing to receive whatever it is, however the healing comes. And that can come in a lot of different forms. So you got to be open.
Yes. Watch the perspective and perception that you hold, because again, those are built off your belief systems. So you have to be open and just allow yourself to receive whatever it is that comes through. And the best way to do that is to be open-minded, like childlike, like, what if? I wonder, could this be it? Let me explore this, right? So it's just really being open and not judging or perceiving how you're going to receive that or how that healing's going to happen.
Yeah, because I tell y'all all the time, don't get caught in the messenger, because the lady that woke me up was an atheist.
Oh, wow.
And if she wouldn't have known personal information about me, I would have never talked to her.
Yeah.
She did, and called me by my first name, walked up to me. I haven't seen her since, but she did her job, right? But she led with, I'm atheist. So I was like, who the hell are you talking to then? I was like, God would never give a gift to an atheist, but that's my 3D way of thinking, right? We are all gods. We all have a form of God in us. We are all gods, right? But if I would have judged her and missed my whole message, where would I be today? You know what I'm saying? So that's what I tell you. God has not even a sense of humor. God knows what would make you uncomfortable. There you go. God knows what would make you uncomfortable enough to grow. And I saw the power in an atheist telling me about God and talking to me about a God-given gift that I've had access to. I thought that wasn't possible. But the judgment will hold you back from growing.
And also, God, source, the universe will come in with something that will snag your attention so hard, because hearing that from an atheist, as opposed to if like somebody rolled out of a church and said, son, you have abilities, you'd be like, yeah, you probably tell everybody that, So they're also going to come through in a way that they're like, he's not going to miss this one. There's no way.
There's 2 times that you remember things and that it makes an impact on you. And that's 1, when you're completely present and there's nothing going on up here. And 2, when you are so uncomfortable and vulnerable. Those are the only 2 times that you remember things or they have an impact on your growth or you as an individual.
Right. They stand out. Yeah. Yeah, because you're going to remember that from, like Andrew's been doing this since she was a kid also. Both of them have, right? So it's the process of, okay, you're doing this as your kid. Yeah, you were doing this really, really well when you believed in Santa. You were doing this really, really well when you believed in the Tooth Fairy. right? Your belief system, you were still a dreamer. So a lot of people tell me, Chris, I don't dream anymore. You do. You just ignore them,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Well, you do it really, really well when you have evidence,
Mhm.
right? When you have evidence, then you believe it.
Mhm.
Like, you know, that alarm clock's going to go off every day. You're going to wake up and start getting ready. And so much so that when it doesn't go off, you're like, damn, what happened? Why did my alarm not go off?
Yeah.
You can carry that belief, you know? So you got to just find those things that are going to help you do that.
You have to keep tools like a lot of y'all. I give y'all tools. You have to use them for them to work. Okay. You have to access a part of yourself that you never knew,
Mm-hmm.
because that when you do the shadow work too, you're gonna walk in there and see people that you don't even you created those people though. You created those monsters that are in there. So you're scared of shit that you created and you projected everything. Right? So why not project love instead?
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
not project
Mhm.
because people can feel that, because energy transfer is very real. Y'all can feel this through this live. So why not even just lead with that? So if anything happens after that, it is not on you.
Mm-hmm.
You did your job. You led with love. You see what I'm saying? But you don't have resentment. And I tell y'all that all the time. Chris, why am I so blurred? Because you have resentment for your parents.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Well, yeah, I do. Resentment is a low vibrational thing.
You know, one of the things that helped me release my resentment towards my father was after going through my healing and my shadow work and seeing myself and becoming conscious of who I am and what is in me, was to then look at my father as a human and not my father, right? He's another human being that has trauma, that has these experiences, that's living off of this, and who didn't heal, who can't see, right? And he did the best that he could, because I've always done the best that I can until I learn better and I do better. We all do that, right? These people are the same way. And if you have someone that is really toxic and really nasty, like I had an extremely abusive stepmother, okay? I can look at her the same way, but I still couldn't release resentment with her on just that, right? So then I looked at her and I'm like, thank you. Thank you for what you, on a soul level, you have taught me through the experiences and lessons I have, because I am healing hundreds, if not thousands. And by the time I'm gone, it's going to be millions of people with what I went through, bringing back that divine feminine. Okay, because of what I went through. Same thing with you and your dad,
Yeah.
Chris.
We don't grow when we're comfortable.
And when you can look at them and be grateful for what they taught you, and that you didn't turn out like them, and you're going to change that in your kids, and you're going to change that in the world and the people that you care about, let alone the people that come along the street. And then you're turning this into your career, or, you're providing, you're going out there and you are healing, even if it's just being in that person's presence. Be thankful as shit for the person that taught you that, regardless of how you learned it. And when you can be thankful to those people, then you can release that resentment.
Like if you can strip away the meat suit, strip away the 3D, and just see a bunch of souls standing around, and imagine like before incarnating here, and like, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to challenge you. And like seeing it that way, there were so many times in like past relationships when I was already on my awakening journey where I was like, I wasn't healed, and I was like still in a place of like, I'm still hurting, but there was a small piece of me because of what I had learned that could remove myself and my significant other at the time from this reality and be like, I know you're teaching me something. I'm not there yet, but I know that you're my teacher through creating these obstacles for me. And you really, when you take it away, it's like you have nothing left but gratitude, because it's a game. It's a game.
Yeah, because you see, this is the thing though. But if you can forgive that person, but if they trigger you, protect your energy. You don't have to be around them.
No, you don't.
No.
Yeah,
So many people think forgiveness means you got to forget, or that you're starting over from square one. Hell no. My father is not in my life. You love him and you let him go. Love him, let him go.
You can eat, but not at my table. My table's full of people that I made for me,
right?
Who don't judge me, who think like me, and I don't have to do that. And see, Y'all's family is the first person to say, well, Chris, I mean, you weren't doing that before. Yeah, I know. I know this because
My
I was,
growth game is impeccable.
yeah, yeah. So of course I wasn't doing it before. So that's why I tell a lot of people, if you want true success, leave your city where people don't know you.
Yeah.
Start over, get uncomfortable,
Mhm.
right? Because that's the only way that people will not let you be great because they hold on to the old you because they're intimidated by that person. They're cool with that person, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So as soon as you grow, they don't mesh with that person. So they're like, you ain't cool anymore. Well, I'm glad I'm not cool anymore because I have a congregation of people that think I'm dope. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you have to make a choice. Okay, well, if you're gonna protect it all the way. You
Yeah.
know, like forgive these people so you don't have to live with that shit. Because
Right.
I held resentment for my dad for so many years, and I used to fantasize about whooping his ass all the time. Even told him a few times, but that was wasted energy.
Mhm.
Okay, so I was projecting just like him. So how can I be mad at dude when I'm doing the same shit that he taught me how to do? So now I got to check myself. So I made the decision. So I unclosed that door because I'm never going to give you the chance to, do my children like that because God's still working with me. Okay, so I'm not going to have my children go through that. I taught them to make their own family. People that love you for you.
Mhm.
Okay, people that love you for you and won't judge you and will get out there with you in like situations like this.
Yeah.
You have
When
to
you start to heal yourself, you learn the nature of emotions and how they're the frequency that we use to manifest. And then you learn how to master the emotions.
right.
That's emotional intelligence. So that, like you're saying, I'm not going to be like my dad. So what do you do instead? Because when you get angry or you're hurt, you don't hit.
Right.
What is it that you do, right? Then you really got to go elementary with yourself. You find yourself in that situation, you go back to the basics. Okay, we're not doing this, so what do we do instead? Right? Talking yourself through, reparenting yourself.
The steps. You have to take the steps because I've learned that my old man couldn't have loved me because I'd never do my kids like that. You know what I'm saying? I took a lot of things at 8 years old that grown people can't take. You're losing teeth. You're kicked in the chest with steel toe boots. I went through that for my kids. You see what I'm saying? So I had my first kid and I found out what it feels like to actually love something. So I was like, how can I hurt this?
Yeah.
So then I was confused at how dude can hurt me. Like, dude, I didn't make you have me at 17. I didn't do that. And then, but the real question is, my mama was 15. So what were you doing? She was 14 when she was pregnant and had me at 15.
Yeah.
So you was grooming her and you left her because she used to kick your ass because you used to put your hands on her. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't an easy victim for him. So he couldn't accomplish that. So I found that I can't fathom that, but that's not for me because I don't think like that, right? But I think about all the people that are still victimized and trapped in their own bodies, enslaved by their own minds because they were a victim and they wear that jacket every day, all day.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Shakita, when you we have one of our followers is saying, what's happening when someone makes you feel drained? Should you stay away? Somebody's making you feel drained, they're siphoning your energy, right? So number one, you need to protect your energy.
Make sure you're also not giving it away though.
Cut the cord.
Yeah. And because if you are just open and exposed, then people are going to take that. When you start a conversation or you invite somebody you're inviting yourself into a conversation. If someone's talking to you, you talk back, you now invited yourself into that conversation. You're exchanging energy. At that point, we are always exchanging energy. So check yourself, make sure that you're able to receive, but nothing's leaving from you. Stay on your platform. Okay. And should you stay away? if someone's draining your energy, you need to have boundaries. You got to have boundaries and put those boundaries up. And if you're unable to have those boundaries, or that person's just steadily plowing through it, absolutely stay away from them the best that you can. But if you have to be around them, you need to set boundaries, but you need to be responsible for your own energy.
Yes. And see, if you don't use the intuition God gave you, do like this. As soon as you cut that cord, watch how they act in the physical form. Things are going to ramp up because they can't feel you anymore. Watch for that shit, because now they're going to start coming by your house and causing a scene again and doing this shit again. Watch that shit, and that's how you know that it's working, because we're energy, but you have to be careful with thought, because this right here rules everything. Okay, if this can give me cancer and heal me at the same time, this is a bad bitch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Take care of this, because this is what we keep going on with. We just keep putting on different meat suits. You know what I'm saying? Like, make your own family, and you're gonna feel your soul family. You're gonna feel that. You're gonna hold on to the feeling. So let me check this out. Let me tell y'all this story. So I have a client, and she was scared of the unknown. Okay, we're just gonna say it like that. And terrified, wouldn't sleep with the lights off. Grown woman, wouldn't sleep with the lights off. Had kids, everything. Terrified. Okay. She had one session with me, and I said, "What are you scared of?" And she couldn't tell me. Okay, well, you're not stepping into a reality that things that you see here, or things that you have seen there are not going to be here, right? Of course, kids see monsters. That's what they look like other places they have been. Right? So imagine your grandma having a meat suit on. She's this big, ugly, and she just wants to come say hi. But she's what you remembered her as. So they're going to come to you, just like Monsters, Inc. Sully. Right? He loved the kids. Or what's Boo, right? Boo? The big blue one? Yeah, the big blue one, right?
Sully's the big
Sully's
one.
The big one.
Sully's the big, yeah. He just wanted a hug, right? He loved the kids and all that, right? But he was still a monster. He was what created, but she saw him for who he really was, right? And she called him what? Kitty, right? Perception.
Yeah.
Perception. Sully, scared, terrified, was the number one monster, but this little girl saw him for who he really was. He had a different meat suit on.
Yeah. And let me tell you, like, full disclosure, I'm not trying to like jump way off the deep end, but when it comes time to us having more experiences with ETs, or them coming down, everyone's all like, you think you're going to be scared to see them, but everything we do, we react off vibration. So if they're coming to us with pure love, it doesn't matter what they look like.
And you feel it, right?
Yeah. You're not going to be like just automatically fearful. It's all about your vibration. That's why, like, if you do it, just made me think of this when you said this, Chris, because it was like, if you have family members and your kids are like, let me tell you, your kids are picking up something. Yeah. They're picking up something off that person, because as long as that person's vibration and their energy that they're exuding is pure, or it's clean and it's good, it doesn't matter. You're gonna, that person's gonna attract everybody.
That can be hard, because you're like, why won't you go hug your great aunt or whatever? And you're like, you feel like it's making you look bad, but you got to trust that. My daughter, when she was like 10 or 11, when on New Year's Eve, when it was turning 2020, freaked the fuck out and was like, I don't want to be part of this. This isn't going to be a good year. It's not a good year. I don't want it to be 2020. And later on, she's like, I've told you guys.
Because COVID came 3 months later.
Yeah. But we were like, calm down. Like, just enjoy you're just tired. You're just up late. Like, but it, like, still brings up to this day. Remember I told you? Remember? Yeah.
So not to cut you off, Dart Tanya, check this out, man. This goes over a lot of y'all's heads. And and I'm bringing awareness to this because it's just really silly. God is in every one of us. We are all one, whether you believe it or not. On my platform, we are all gods because we are a form of God. There's only one God, though. Okay, so if you don't feel that you are a God, that is yours. That is how you feel. That is your perception. Okay, you need to do research on a city called Atlantis. There was a bunch of gods there, but they all worshiped one God. All right. So the soul dreamers, I teach them that God is in you. You look within. So you do things on your own. It does not mean you don't need God. It means that God is within you. So everything you need, God already instilled you with.
Mm-hmm.
That's how that works. Don't let that go over your head.
Also, if you, Dr. Wayne Dyer would always say, if you came from God, you must be of God. You must be a part of it. You can't come from something and not be a part of it.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's just like your parents, right? You come from your parents, and it's like, well, I'm not my parents, but I took two of them. You're both of them equally, right? They come off of you. You have their last name. You are a
DNA.
shard of that
Yeah.
creator. We are a shard of our creator. All of us living out experiences of one main source.
So she asked, why did Atlantis fail? They failed because they were all had gifts and they got bored and they were doing bad things with them.
They lost the balance between the masculine and the divine masculine, divine feminine.
They were turning people into animals and stuff because they didn't like them and stuff like that. Of course, they're going to fail, but there's duality.
Mm-hmm.
See, y'all are missing the message. There's duality. You see what I'm saying? We are not God. We are a form of God.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just what that is. So this is without the Bible. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that with you, homie. Go ahead. Go ahead, Lindsay. I don't even know why I'm wasting energy like that. Go ahead. But yeah, God is love, and if you don't love anyone or lead with love, then I don't know what to even tell you. You project everything that's in your life that's going on now. But once again, we go back to perception.
Yeah. I mean, even this individual, I look and I'm like, I have respect for you and send you love. You know what? Because you are also another version of God playing out right now, learning and experiencing what it's like to be against those that don't carry your same beliefs. That's what you're experiencing and taking back, right? We're all so different, and it's so beautiful because we don't have to be afraid of one another or judge one another because we're all different and all unique, and we see things, feel things, hear things differently. And that ain't ever going to change.
It's never going to change. I mean, you judge somebody, you judge yourself. Why do you think I tell y'all to listen to when people talk shit to you? Because 9 times out of 10, they are projecting their insecurities about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if they're sitting here talking shit to you, and you're mad about that shit, but you didn't hear the words, you heard the delivery of the words. You didn't hear, because if you heard the words, you'd be like, oh, he wasn't talking about me, right? So that goes to say this, like I mean, you comprehend what people comprehend what they want to. And if you want to really talk about the Bible had a lot of stuff in it that I don't agree with personally. Okay. But I don't hold that against the Bible. Okay. We don't even talk about that because that is an argument that people can run with. And we don't do that on my platform. We don't waste energy like that. But I will say this, though. If that is what you go by, why the hell would I judge you and why would I care?
Right.
Why would I? But that doesn't do anything for me. I'm still gonna love you regardless. If you don't love me, so what?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna. I respect every religion on this earth. Everyone has a comfort. I don't judge them or think mine's better than theirs because that's not true. It all goes back to one source.
One thing we teach our clients is when you learn to fully love yourself, then you're automatically going to love everybody else. Because when you come into full acceptance of yourself, you'll be full acceptance of other people with healthy boundaries, right? It's like, bro, do you? Much love, right? And I'm gonna love you and let you go. But and that's how you do, that's how you do that. And then also when you do the shadow work, like we were talking about earlier, and you heal all that, you're gonna look at people and sit there in full acceptance and compassion and understanding, because you're gonna be able to pinpoint all of their traumas when they're talking to you, when they're going on you, when they're like treating you like shit. You're gonna be like, oh, bro, dude, I can see your abandonment. I
can
feel
see
you.
your
I've been
pain.
there. I
Yeah.
know that,
Yeah.
right? This is like
And you can empathize with them.
we
you know?
teach
You're
our
like,
clients this, and this is what we do. Like,
give them a little pat on the head,
It
and you're
co-
like,
yeah,
run
I guess
along.
it comes with our territory and like what we teach, but we see that with everybody. We can pinpoint when people have like traumas and when they have like, areas that they're still learning to work on. And you'll see that too.
Just by reading your name, we can go into that, right? So I know where the place where you come from. So I'm not gonna I don't need to be crazy, you know what I'm saying, do none of that. But at the same time, I will educate you while you're here. There's a thing called Christ consciousness that is being straight connected to God. So I call it God mode. A lot of us have this. You can achieve this, and you can be guided by God. But so when you come into a place and say, well, I was just bringing Christ into it, my homeboy been here.
Right. Yep.
That's not his name anyway, but my homeboy's been here. We're talking about the same person. So you know what I'm saying? So, just respect everybody, man. You didn't even whatever. But yes, so a lot of people, let me see. Let me answer some questions from the comments. Tap the screen, share the live, y'all, please. Okay, so I get that you don't respect any religions, but I do, because I respect how people think, right? I don't have to agree with them though. Okay.
Everyone has their right to do that.
Yeah. I think that because okay. So I'm gonna just put it out there like this. I didn't know this until I became a spiritualist, but when you have clients, you talk to spirits, right? Some spirits take their religion back home with them, even though they know. That's comfort. They go into their next life, bring in the Catholic. I have done mediumship with a spirit that was Catholic and was uneasy at first because I wasn't. And I was like, Mama, how is that possible? Right? That's very possible. You take things home with you, right? So when you find out that you are one and God is in us, you can take that with you. But for centuries, you were Catholic or whatever. You can hold that when you go home too. But God doesn't judge you, because it all comes back to source. So
There's a really beautiful documentary that came out years ago. It's called The Story of God with Morgan Freeman. And he went around to all different places and checked out different religions. And he took each one, and dissected it. And he's like, really, when it comes down to it, each of these religions started from the same place. They all, even the ones that have multiple deities, they all also have one source. And it's all love. It's unconditional love. And he's like, people have diluted it and changed it, but he's like, we all believe in the same thing, people.
Right. In the same thing. We all believe in the same thing, but it's just different forms. It all goes to the same place.
Yeah.
It all goes to the exact same place.
Just put different words on it.
You know what's so dope about God? He doesn't judge. You can call him whatever you want to call him. He's still going to show up. Right? Because he's all love. So if you've ever channeled and been in that, like the 14th D, it's all love. You feel all love. That's when you talk to angels, but it's only when you feel all love and you love yourself and you have that ability to connect to source. So yes, separate the ego from the messages. Everyone doesn't learn like that.
We have a question. When you say cut the cord, is there a process involved in cutting the cord?
Yes, I teach that in my class, but I say burn the cord. So pretend like you and the energy that you want to go away is tied to a rope, right? Burn that cord, but it's a visualization method. Close your eyes and see it, but watch it until that last string pops, and then watch them be vacuumed away. Okay, so you're gonna instantly feel it when they get vacuumed away.
Trust what you see or feel.
Trust what you feel. Trust what you feel. Because okay, let me see who else. You'll know if it's God or not. Yes. God has different interpretations, but you feel. Yes. The Bible. We're not talking about the Bible. Okay, it's gonna be. Yeah, like so. So that's the thing. So like super conscious. Like I tell y'all about that. That's the beginning of your time. Okay. Then you have subconscious, right? They never forget anything from these lifetimes that you have had within like centuries, whatever. But you have to tap into that person because, well, that source, okay? Because that is what is connected to your higher self. Also, your higher self is you at your best timeline, right? Because that person can lead you into victory, into success. That source remembers your soul contract. That source is going to give you a feeling when you're on the right track. So, let that guide you. Let me see. We're getting out here in 15 minutes, y'all. Oh yeah, let me tell y'all about the raffle. We hit 122. Okay, so we're back up there. So I will be having another raffle. Then, when they have their podcast set up, I will have a link in my bio so y'all can hit it because I know it. But anybody who wants to follow them now because you might lose them when they get off.
Yeah.
So do that because we have a dope podcast coming up and it's just like mine, but they're doing the shadow work and like stuff like that. A lot of y'all need that, so that's why they have the classes too. Mm-hmm. And
same thing on our side. Make sure you follow our boy Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all
he's doing magic. Follow him to do magic.
Yeah.
He's doing all the cool stuff, astral projection, cool meditation stuff. Like you want to follow him to have, have that experience.
That's a thing. You really don't need anybody, but I will tell you this because I'm real with you. You're used to their vibration, so it gets harder and you can't that first meeting is dope as shit and vivid. It's dope and very, very vivid. Anytime after that is you gotta focus on feelings, claircognitive. You have to know that a lot of things you just know and synchronicities. Big thing. Because they're on. Yes, God is a frequency. Thank you. A lot of times, if you finally look from like within yourself, it will guide you. I've gotten business ideas from meditations. Have y'all ever done that? Business ideas. Like I haven't, because I go into the zone to where like, should I get manic and just write a bunch of shit down? Then I come out of that state and I'm like, damn, put all this shit into, you see what I'm saying? Because you're in a channel. Okay. Yeah. So a lot of times your loved ones and a lot of people swap out on your spirit team with whatever your journey is. They will swap out and they will be added to your spirit team. Like if you are a speaker, believe it or not, there's big speakers that come on your spirit team because you're going to need them. They help guide you. You see what I'm saying? It's not just
archangels, ascended masters.
Right. It's not just God, because if that was the case, then God wouldn't send us with a spirit team here. God wouldn't send us with guardian angels. You see what I'm saying? God, it's source.
You have a whole council.
And it's all God. It's all still God. It's just like different aspects of God. It's like this one, it's like this is the executive branch. This is the legislative branch. Like here's for different things, for everything.
Jeff Bezos, that's God. We're Amazon.
Yeah.
We deliver too.
Yeah. With a smile on her face.
Because, yes, and on time because it's all divine timing.
Yes.
Yeah, because like we are powerful people. I need y'all to understand that. That's why I love these two ladies right here, because you know what? They're different from me. I can learn things from them. They do different.
We learn from you, and it's having that like being able to be on that same page and Yeah.
Like I tell them, the
Understand.
most dangerous person in the world is a person that knows everything.
Mm-hmm.
Get the hell away from them. You can't teach them shit. They know everything.
Yeah.
They are a walking bomb. Like, get the hell away from them, because you're ever in any situation and they know everything and things blow up. Who's the first person that they blame because they knew everything? You. But Andrea, I told you, yada yada. And then you're like, well, you the one that brought it up. This is all your scheme. Like, this is your idea. You see what I'm saying? So it's like you have to, man. It's just keep the power within you yourself, and all this stress, worry, money, and everything will come to an end because you know who you are, and you know that money comes and goes. And once you're doing what you love, it's gonna flow and it's gonna flood you.
Mm-hmm.
Like I told y'all, this Soul Dream movement is not even 120 days old. I had 39 followers, and believe it or not, I was scared to be myself with y'all. I was scared to be myself. You see what I'm saying? Like I thought that y'all wouldn't like boring Chris. You know what I'm saying? Because like I'm just a normal guy, right? So, but self-sabotage.
Yeah.
Yeah, we say no one can love you like you can love you, and nobody can hurt you like you can hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up. You know the most evil shit. And a lot of times when y'all book sessions, I hear y'all's thoughts and I tell y'all about that shit. And then y'all are so embarrassed when I tell you about it, because it's really self-sabotage all day as soon as you get up. Right? So if you get up, pray, meditate, whatever you do that shit. But have the steps in your mind of what you're going to do after you get up. Not just a free for all, because the overthinking process just goes wild like a wild horse. We don't know what the hell to do. Like, we're trying to scramble, but if you just take that out of it, you can start having fun again.
And you can always build steps off of a target.
Yeah.
So always have a target, and then you always have
That bullseye,
steps.
yeah. Where are you aiming?
Because always know where you're going, because if you don't know where you're going, like, you're not clairvoyant, because you would have seen that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like if you could really see down the road, and a lot of times I can't see my own shit, so I go to her.
Yeah.
I'm like, Andrew, what the hell is wrong with you? But it's just, you have to trust that person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I'll say for me, I had people read me that saw my future and they started plotting. They were my best friends and they were my family, my soul family. And I'm like, nah, we don't do that. And then I'm like, what did you see? I'm trying to figure that out because my bank account is naked as shit. You know what I'm saying? But that's just my mind frame at that point in time. But be careful who you share your energy with. Don't let everybody read you. Trust that person. And if you do the whole ayahuasca shit and need a trip sitter, trust that person. Because a lot of y'all did some weird shit and they're going to see that. They're going to see that. So don't get embarrassed when these people are in your life. They're supposed to be in your life because this is real. This is not a trend. This is our way of life. But we just know that we can recreate our own reality, so we don't let that control us. We know that. So we don't gatekeep, and we teach y'all that.
Yep.
Because like the first thing that goes with the self-sabotage is I'm not worthy. So that goes with your ego. So then you're gonna for the women, cut your hair, diet 1,000,000 times. That is your trauma that you're living out through your straight appearance. But men go through it too. Shave our hair bald, shave all our facial hair. You see what I'm saying? It's like, or just gain a bunch of weight, stop working out. You're losing yourself, and that is a sign of schizophrenia, since they want to label everybody, So, I mean, it's just, once you love yourself, then you are available to love someone else.
Yep.
and you're not giving someone else pieces of bullshit that your ex gave you, and on top of your trauma, their trauma, blah, blah, blah. It's just a cluster.
The cycle stops with you.
Mhm.
Cycle.
And it becomes easy too. It's not hard to see past your trauma. It's not hard when you do that healing and come back to you.
About trauma, it's ugly as shit, and that bitch will pop up anywhere you're at.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
Anywhere. You can get a trigger, right? So, for my SA victims, okay, we have a radar for the creeps, right? But at the same time, it's a little like this. You can hear something that will trigger you and ruin your whole day because that is your trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want anybody else to deal with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. So what do you do after that trigger? That bounce back is very important, so you won't fall and spiral into a low vibrational state.
Mm-hmm.
Then you allow everything in. Yeah, your spidey
Exactly.
senses, exactly, Amber. See,
And then it becomes a vicious cycle because you're lowering your vibration, then you're allowing more trauma to come in. And we call them solidifiers. So something that solidified that original trauma or that belief because it's happening again and again. And then your brain's like, see, told you. See, told you. Because your brain is wired to collect information that specifically solidifies your trauma. And it does that on purpose to keep you safe. If we lived in the wild, that would keep you from standing in front of a bear and not running away. It's like, last time it chased me, so this time I'm going to run. Mm-hmm. So it'll keep doing that. And you have to go in and physically, you have to be your own coach and teach it to focus on the positive, on the light. And it's a lot harder when you still have it all stuck in you.
Mm-hmm.
Did we lose you for a sec, Chris?
Is it freezing for y'all?
It did for a
is it
second.
freezing for y'all or no?
Yeah. No, it's not.
It was.
They like
I was
it.
about to say, green. So...
It's telling us.
Gotcha.
It's telling us to be done.
Hey, yeah, it's telling us to be done. So shit. Hey, listen. So, man, this is my soul fam. Like, they're a whole portion of my soul fam. Follow them, man. They go live. When do y'all go live?
We're going to be going live.
When do y'all go live?
We're going to be going live Monday through Friday. We're trying to figure out our time. Most likely, we were thinking, we're probably going to be shooting for anywhere from around 10 to 12 Eastern Standard Time. Or maybe a little bit later in the afternoon. So we just we're working that out.
So we won't overlap you because we got 2 different time zones. So it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Y'all are what? Pacific Standard?
We're Eastern. Yeah.
Eastern.
So it is currently almost 1:00 where we are.
Got you.
Yeah.
Hey, tell them the name of your podcast.
Our podcast is I Am Aware Now. You can see it here. This is our
I Am Aware
podcast.
Now.
Chris was so awesome to put together some artwork for us.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So.
And for those of you who if anyone's followed us for a long time, this happened before we did the podcast. We had a lot of growing to do. And so we put it on pause and we did that shit. And we are so beyond ready to get this back out there. And we are so fucking excited.
Yeah, we are super excited. It'll be coming out next week.
Yeah.
It's going to be the launch of our podcast. So we are so excited about that.
Yeah.
It is on Spotify. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the sunflower. I'm telling you, that's their man. I'm telling you, we had this picture is actually deeper than what y'all can see, but
yes,
y'all get it. But yes, they have a dope podcast. Hey, let's get to 50K before we get off of here. 50K. Okay, we're almost there. 44.2. Let's go, y'all. Hey, you know what? And just thanks for just kicking it with us for 2 hours. I like to, and I never bring anybody on here. But
we're so honored.
Yeah,
we're so honored.
I don't like people on my podcast because I don't like the mixed energy.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And if you say anything that I don't too much agree with, then you have to leave. But anyway, I love
so we did good. We made the cut.
Exactly. Vintage Beauty was the one that I had the interview with, and it's on YouTube, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcasts. It's on a bunch of shit. Go check her out. She has Bridging the Gap with Naomi, Nyomi. She's dope as shit, man. Check her out. Hey, man, shit, if nobody told y'all, we all love y'all. We all love y'all. And, keep shining y'all's light, okay?
Yeah.
Y'all's light, man. And, don't stop settling for a bunch of bullshit. You don't have to be around those people. Protect your energy.
Yes.
Okay.
Always protect yourself.
Same time tomorrow, I will be live. When they figure it out, I will repost their post, and I will let all of y'all know. Thank y'all for welcoming in my fam. Thank y'all
We
for
love
showing them
you.
love. And,
Thank you all for joining, and thank you so much, Chris.
Yes.
We love you so much.
Love
I'm
y'all.
so thankful.
Thank y'all.
Bye.
Oh, we're still here.
We're still here.
You made it.
Gotta love Mercury retrograde.
Well, thank you guys all for joining.
Yes.
I know, we weren't able to answer everybody's questions because we were kind of in a very quick dialogue, but we're really excited to be getting on more, and we're so excited. So many of you could get on during the day, so we're that's making this even better because we're okay, you guys are still here. So,
but
thank
stay
you so
tuned.
much.
We will be coming on Monday through Friday. Most likely it's going to be 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we are also launching our podcast as of next week. I'm aware now. Move. So we are super, super excited, y'all.
Yeah, we are so excited.
All right.
Yay.
Oh,
good.
Oh, good. Yeah.
I don't know if you were on when because he would be on
Chris
our
and
lives.
Frankie.
Chris and Frankie. That's Chris of Chris and Frankie for all of you who have been on with us for a while, and they were always our moderators, and Chris always has made us laugh. Yeah. And we were there for him when he was going through some things, and he's turned around, he's here for us, and we're just so thankful for that dynamic. So yeah. All right, we love you all. I'm gonna try to get out of here. I can't find the button.
Sorry, I blew up the screen.
Yeah, you blew up the screen and the button went away. We can't leave, so let's just keep talking.
Where'd our button go?
We don't have it anymore. We'll just hop off.